Boda Bob wants to know, does Andrea still believe Jo was punched in the nose?
Definitely. Definitely. That
That was
guy
the
was
first
beat
thing
up.
you
Look
said,
at him.
wasn't it?
Look at him. Eye test. He was beat up and his arm was chewed up by a dog.
For those who don't know, Andrea was actually out with the Karen Reid case because of all the other stuff that was going on with all the background noise that was going on with Kate Peter and Aidan Carney and stuff like that. She was out.
And who dragged me in? And who dragged me in and how?
I sent Andrea a message. I actually dragged Larry into it too, although he probably doesn't realize it was through his girlfriend. But I sent Andrea a message, knowing that she's a boxer, like in her spare time, she's an amateur boxer. Well, I thought because you were teaching boxing, that was a different level, but amateur is the correct term, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's just, yeah.
I sent her the photos of John's face. There was, I think, and his hand. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
And your first response, and I put a video. I didn't say who it was I was speaking with because I wasn't sure you wanted me to say who, but I did put a video out saying, like, I spoke with a boxer who's also a lawyer, who's telling me that this is definitely a boxer's fracture and that on the hand, and that the face was definitely boxed. So
Yeah, that's definitely what it looked like to me. I mean, that was not a car accident. That was a guy. That was a guy. I mean, that's a guy with a face that you see. You know, you'll see a face like that coming out of the ring if people are in there doing sparring without headgear and stuff. I mean, it was just, it was
well,
very obvious to me.
I was familiar with it not because of having anything to do with fighting. It's just I had an ex-husband who would drink and get into fights all the time. So that's the only reason I was familiar with the facial injuries. I mean, I've seen some. I don't even want to go there, but yeah, getting drunk, going to the pub, getting drunk, and then kicking someone in the head for no reason, and then getting himself beat up and whatever. I've seen some injuries. And being the wife, it was always me that had to patch him up afterwards. So so I was already familiar with that kind of injury, and especially the hand. When people are drunk, they don't necessarily have their wits about them, and that's what can cause that kind of fracture, right? They didn't hold the hand right, or then they're too drunk to actually throw the swing. That was my ex's problem.
Well, the things about injuries like that, and I want to be clear too. The boxer's fracture, it's like, this is a colloquial expression. Like, it's not. This is not a diagnosis. This is not a medical diagnosis. What it is it's because you have all of these small bones in your hand. It's very easy to injure them when you punch, because they all move against each other, and so little things like if you punch with your wrist like this instead of your wrist like this, that can cause you a major hand injury. If you land, with these knuckles and instead of with these knuckles, that can cause you an injury. So even if you're like really good, it's very common to get injuries like this from fighting, because you just can't control all of those different variables. But that's exactly why boxers wrap their hands, is because it's not like you're trying to keep yourself from getting scabbed or something like that. It's literally to hold those small bones, to brace all the small bones in your hands and down into your wrist together, to give you a little bit more stability and avoid things like the boxer's fracture. So yeah, that's super common. You hit them just a little bit off on this side of your hand, and all of these bones in here get all stressed out and get damaged. You get soft tissue damage. You can get an actual fracture. That's what it looks like to me. This bruise on the back of his hand. You see that kind of thing frequently. You get an injury like that.
You put it together with the facial injuries, and that's where you rule out this
guy was in a fight. Yeah. And so then as soon I was like, who is this anyway? What case is this? You're like, oh, this is John O'Keefe. I'm like, this is the guy they're saying was hit by a car. Okay, I gotta watch this now.
You were hooked after that, and then you did wall-to-wall trial coverage. I was so pleased that you got into it. The same thing happened with Larry. I was talking with his girlfriend, and I know she covers on her channel, she covers women who use the law against men as a weapon, kind of thing. I'm not sure of the exact terminology legally, but you get what I'm saying.
Sure.
But that's the
Oh,
sort
like
of
false accusers and things like that. I remember Chandler from Johnny Depp.
right. So I sent a message through to Chandler telling her, giving her some of the backstory about Total Boy, because a lot of people were going, because this is what the media did. They specifically set out to discourage people from following anything to do with Total Boy because they needed to railroad him. So
Mm-hmm.
I sent a message to Chandler going like, this is getting a lot worse for Turtle Boy, because now there's this woman who says she's pregnant and she's got his bail revoked by lying, and Chandler was just gobsmacked. And at that point, her and Larry were like, yeah, no, he's too much for us. We're out. But once I told them about that side of it, I did like a 10-minute video for them and just privately shared with them to explain what had gone on. That was the day he was that was the day he got, he was in for 60 days and they were trying to make him stay in longer, and then the
Yeah.
null prosequi or whatever it was happened that day. That was the day I reached out to her, and then all of a sudden they were back in as well. So I'm so glad that I got people interested and watching it again, because it's a whole thing. Like, it's not about him as a person, it's about what they're doing to shut people up, to prosecute innocent people, to frame people. It's that whole package. It's nothing to do with the personalities.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of Colin's hand?
Oh, the scabby hand, the scabby hand. To me, that I've seen that a million times too, and that's what you look like when you're a dumbass who punches the heavy bag without wrapping your hands. That's what happens. You get your knuckles scraped up all exactly like that. I think he was
What?
probably
You mean he
hitting the
wasn't
heavy bag
the
without his
knuckle dragger?
It was not, he did not slip and fall on the ice and catch himself on the knuckles. I am quite confident of that. Nobody on the planet has ever done that.
It was hilarious. Because I use the term knuckle dragger a lot when I'm describing people like Colin who just fight for the fun of it, just because they're tough guys and pretending that they're tough and whatever. But that's my term for that type of character, is knuckle dragger. And then he's in court going, well, I actually literally dragged my knuckles. No, you did not. So I was in your stream through that part of the testimony. That was hilarious. Your reaction to it was hilarious.
That was one of the dumbest excuses I think I've ever heard. I mean, I've heard a lot of dumb excuses. Okay, did criminal defense for 20 years. I heard a lot of dumb excuses. That is one of the dumbest ones I think I've heard. Literally nobody has ever done that. And everybody listening knows. Nobody has ever done that. Like, nobody is going to catch themselves on the ice with a fist. Yeah. How do you even come up with that?